Well, between the restrictive conditions, absent fans, and a one-year delay that threw off training cycles, the Tokyo Olympic Games have been reshaped by the global pandemic.
And less than a week into the Games, they're being defined by a completely different challenge: the pressure Olympic athletes face on the world stage and therefore their mental health. Dr. Lindsay Shaw, a U.S. Olympic sports psychologist, joins us now to discuss the enormous pressure athletes are under at the Games. Dr. Shaw, I mean, this is just such a timely conversation given, of course, what we're seeing with Simone Biles, but other athletes who are there too, and other things we've seen just play out in the sports world in general over the last couple months. So let's talk about what the United States Olympic Committee is doing to support their athletes and how they can prevent athletes from feeling like they're struggling so much that they can't finish the competition. Can support come from that entity?
Yeah, absolutely. And for many years, the USOPC has had licensed psychologists who are trained in sport performance, traveling the world with teams to support athletes in enhancing their performance and supporting their mental health. And during the pandemic, for the first time, we have hired mental health officers. So these are licensed psychologists who specialize specifically in supporting athlete mental health. We also have a host of other relationships, everything from like sort of app-based therapy, virtual therapy, live therapy, collaboration with a network across the United States of licensed psychologists, other licensed mental health providers, psychiatrists to best support athletes.
Dr. Shaw, we're coming off an unprecedented year and a half. Olympic Games like no other, this competition without crowds. A lot of athletes have said that that's causing them to struggle. So does it make sense we are seeing athletes having these issues more than ever with mental health? And what's your advice to athletes who may be struggling right now?
You know, it does make sense. On one hand, we've known for many months that there wouldn't be spectators at the Games, and athletes are used to pressure simulations and trainings where they don't have fans present. However, when you think about your lifelong goal of going to the Olympics or the Paralympic Games, you probably had fans present in that image in your mind. So there is an adjustment down to sort of to the reality of competing with no fans. That said, there's been other events in 2021 that has had limited fans. So there are some reference points. And I think athletes who have been successful performing in front of large crowds might feel a little bit bewildered performing again in front of an empty Olympic arena. My advice would be, you got yourself here. We have this opportunity. The Games are still going forward. So focus on the things that you need to do to increase your chances of performing your best when it's your time to compete. I mean, if we think about what Simone Biles was saying, they had their warm up and then she referenced this really long break, about a 5-hour break. And she sort of stated, this is my recounting, I wasn't really able to regulate my mind-body state. Like I was shaky. I couldn't really nap. There was sort of something going on. I mean, you've heard other athletes say, my energy was really low. I don't know. I didn't feel nervous, but there was something going on. I mean, to me as a psychologist, as a sign, like I wasn't able to regulate. I wasn't able to work with myself effectively and ended up impacting my performance.
So let's dig in on Simone. I mean, of course, that's the big headline in terms of this conversation right now as we've seen this news happen. First, I just kind of wonder, as somebody who's worked with Olympians, what you make of that, if you can shed any light kind of there. And then the other thing that I think is really important that you just touched on here with being able to, regulate something like shaking, napping. We've been talking this morning that it's not necessarily just, especially in a sport like gymnastics where you're flipping in the air. It's not just, is your head in the right place, feeling pressure. That can be actually quite dangerous if she's not able to be in a position where she's able to know where the ground is and that type of thing, and she doesn't feel ready. I mean, nothing is worth risking something like that. So just kind of walk us through what could have happened and therefore what this decision really looked like for her, what it meant.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I don't work with Simone. Obviously, I can't speak to the specifics of any of the athletes that I work with. But as a generality, I mean, Simone did reference, she felt like she had the weight of the world on her shoulders. And you heard Michael Phelps sort of echo that in his experience. I mean, you almost, as you were reading the media leading into the women's gymnastics competition, it was as if she had to be this superhero. She was going to win. And if she won this many gold medals, it was going to be the most of all time here, and this gold record and that Olympic record. I mean, that is a lot of pressure. And it's pressure for her to achieve what we call sort of an outcome focus. when you're thinking about winning medals, there's nothing wrong with that. It can be very motivating. But in the moment of competition, it doesn't provide specific direction for what you should be paying attention to. And that's what we want athletes to be attending to. How can I perform my best? And you're right. I mean, gymnastics, it can be a dangerous sport. And she pulled out after she referenced sort of an uncharacteristic vault mistake. And she's right. If she's not fully focused, it's not like she just goes slow. She can injure herself. So she made the right call. She and her team made the right call at the right time. And hopefully she can take the competition day by day. I think that's the plan. And we'll see if we see her next week.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.